What's up, guys? This is Bolt Struck with Duck, and man, is it a good day to be a Chiefs hater. So we're going over the Chiefs Super Bowl loss. Yes, I worded that on purpose, not the Eagles Super Bowl win. Talking about the Chiefs Super Bowl loss. And we're talking about the Davante Adams, among other wide receivers, rumored to be going to the Chargers. So we'll get into it. So again, I'm specifying Chiefs loss because I was rooting for a Chiefs loss, not an Eagles win. One of the rare circumstances where I would root for the Eagles. I mean, just what a fun game. I went to my family Super Bowl party, and I remember my mom asking me after I was leaving, like, "Oh, was the game boring for you guys?" Right? Because it was a blowout. It was over for forever. And I just remember me and my dad being like, "No, I mean that was so much fun." Just yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoyed that more than I thought because, you always go into a Super Bowl thinking the usual, like, well, I hope it's a good game. This was a good game for it being a bad game for the Chiefs. I mean, just what a horrendous collapse. A team that was just kind of like skating by on weird calls and just like winning close games and Mahomes not playing that great and the roster not being that good. And this year is actually true. People were saying similar things the last 2 years, which they obviously won those two Super Bowls in a row. Um, but it's like seemingly the first game all year where they're not getting a ton of calls. Actually, the other team seems to be getting some favorable calls, and they get just annihilated. I mean, Travis Kelsey, looks clearly washed. I've felt like from the beginning, is Travis Kelsey a good tight end? Of course. Is he more of a wide receiver who benefits from the system of Andy Reid compared to an Antonio Gates, a Rob Gronkowski, a Tony Gonzalez? Of course. It's really unfair to compare him to those guys. It's a different player, it's a different scheme. He is the greatest offensive coach of all time. And yeah, I mean, he looked horrible in that Super Bowl. Mahomes looked horrible. I think they said it was the second worst QBR in a Super Bowl ever, 10th worst QBR in a playoff game, I believe, ever. Just looked horrible. Unfortunately, stat padded towards the end, but everyone saw it. We all know what happened. And see Bengals fans saying this, but also Chargers fans should be saying it, is it's like, this is what our guys have to deal with their entire career, right? Like Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow have not had offensive masterminds to be able to scheme people open, and they've had far worse offensive lines than Mahomes had last night and have played frankly better, with those bad O lines. So it's really vindicating, especially after the horrible Justin Herbert playoff performance. Is like, the same people who were clowning Justin Herbert now all of a sudden believe it's a team game and a quarterback can't carry, a bad team. And trust me, Justin Herbert's team, it especially offensively, is far worse than this Kansas City Chiefs team. So it's like one of those things, like, feels good as a Chargers fan, feels good as a Justin Herbert fan. And on the flip side, Jalen Hurts, same draft class as Justin Herbert, so I'm always, semi rooting against him. Seems like a really good guy. It's like the Tua situation. I like Jalen Hurts far more than I like Tua as a player and as a person from the little I know. But it's similar where it's like, it's just unfortunate the fan base is so, well, I'm not gonna say too much, but as a person, totally fine. But I would never in a million years take Jalen Hurts over Justin Herbert. Obviously, probably after him winning the Super Bowl, that's a hot take, but I will die on that hill. You know, he was fine though. He had that one awful interception early. And then he was smart with the football. He had one really good deep ball, but besides that, just managed the game well. He has a stacked team. It's like, not to harp on it, but Justin Herbert wins 12 Super Bowls with that roster. So, I mean, but again, not trying to take too much away. Shout out to Jalen Hurts for killing Mahomes. I'll give him all the credit in the world. I was very much an Eagles fan last night. So really, really fun game to watch. But let me know your guys' thoughts about it in the comments below. And so just getting into the Chargers trade rumors, the newest name to the list, because a couple names floating out there was T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, now that he's seemingly upset at the Dolphins organization, Keenan Allen reunion, and now Davante Adams apparently threw out, I believe it was 3 team names, 3 or 4, the Chargers being one of them. So a couple things to consider is one, the Chargers need speed. So I've already seen Chargers fans being like, we don't need Devontae, we need a deep threat. But also a veteran presence would be nice. I mean, it seems like there's no real, leaders in the skill position on the team. Because basically the entire skill position was overhauled last year, except for Justin Herbert and like a Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnston. So it's like, no Keenan Allen. So it's like, so that would be my thing is bring back number one wide receiver and bring in a veteran. So we'll go to the veteran part first. So I would bring back Keenan Allen. Just he has chemistry with Herbert. He's a free agent. I think he was upset that he left LA because he ended up firing that agent. And again, he already has the built-in chemistry. Fan favorite of mine and a lot of Chargers fans. I think he should retire a Charger, and he's still productive. He still had a good season. I would love to have him back as that veteran guy. If for some reason it doesn't work out with Keenan Allen, a guy like a Chris Godwin should be available, um, or a guy like Davante Adams. But again, with the veteran receiver, I don't think you can, invest that much in them because you still need another wide receiver after that. I don't think you can get away with just the veteran. So getting into those uh, 1A type receivers, you got T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill are a couple that have been floating around to the Chargers. I would like T. Higgins just because he's proved he can be a number one wide receiver, even in a offensive room that features Jamar Chase. So T. Higgins would be nice, and he's much younger than Tyreek Hill. You could lock him up for a while. The Chargers have the cap space to spend on a number one wide receiver. And just Tyreek Hill comes with a lot of baggage. He's clearly dynamic. He's, if you were to ask me even 2 years ago, probably the most dynamic player in the NFL, just in terms of can change the game with his speed. Comes with a lot of baggage. He's obviously aging. He's, already left a couple teams. If assuming he leaves Miami, it won't be on the greatest of notes. And then just the off the field stuff. Just a lot of, things like I won't get into it too much with like having too many kids, seemingly not taking great care of the kids, like not Chargers typically like high character guys in general, right? They've never been a franchise to risk bringing in a Antonio Brown like the Raiders were. And sometimes that's, a good thing. Sometimes it's no risk, no reward. But especially a Jim Harbaugh, I don't see him bringing in any low character guys. So I would say if you could bring in T. Higgins, bring back Keenan Allen. I mean, a T. Higgins, Lad McConkey, Keenan Allen wide receiver trio would feed families. That would be awesome. And then go out and draft a tight end in the first round. But so those are my picks. Let me know of the guys floating around out there. So a T. Higgins, Tyreek Hill, Davante Adams, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin. Who do you realistically see us signing and who do you want? Let me know again in the comments down below. Make sure to like the video if you like the video, subscribe for more Chargers content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.